Let me bring in Gary Danielson. Gary, the whole tackling in the NFL, it seems like it's a forgotten art here. The guys don't tackle anybody, but do you value the number of tackles somebody has in a game?
It reminds me of a story. I threw in the playoff game against San Francisco. I threw 5 interceptions. And on the plane ride back, after everybody cooled down a little bit, everybody was kind of kidding me about thinking, like, what the hell, gee? I mean, what are you doing? You know, like that. And they were kidding me. And so Bill Gay, our big defensive end, came up to me and threw a piece of paper at me laughingly and go, what's the deal, G, like that? He goes, 5 INTs. So I'm looking at the stat sheet, and I threw 5 INTs, and I had 2 tackles. Bill played 70 plays, and he had 1.
So tackles are overrated.
I don't know. The game's changed so much now. It's the style you play against. You know, some teams are throwing the ball in the perimeter. The middle linebacker doesn't have any. If you're getting run over in a football game, and you know at the end of the game they run the ball 45 times, the middle linebacker's going to get more tackles. But I get your point. Being a skilled tackler is very important in this game, and you're right. There is a tendency now to go for the blow-up play, but I think slowly but surely the game's changing a bit.
But you also have more opportunities for sacks. So when we look at sack numbers, they're inflated. These guys are one-dimensional.
Sure.
Now, there's value there, but the value is a guy who is a linebacker who can cover and also can, stop the run game.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. I'll tell you why. It's very tough to stop any offense with an efficient quarterback. And the only really way to stop them nowadays is look for the negative play. So that's why J.J. Watt and these pass rushers, you might have a guy throw, all day on your secondary, but you get him behind the chains with 1 sack. In football nowadays, it's almost like breaking serve in tennis. You might only need to break serve 3 times, get 3 stops, and a negative play is a huge part of professional football right now.
All right. Gary Danielson from CBS joining us, Dan Patrick Show. A reaction to the poll, the rankings last night.
I read this. I did not make this up, but I've been saying, they ought to save the gas that on the airplane stuff. I don't know why they don't wait till the end. I really don't. It's an overreaction to everybody's partial record at the time. I mean, just look at this silly thing of – no, I don't mean it's silly. I mean, there's just a thing this week of dropping Florida State. Well, okay. But they do play Miami and Florida to end the season, and if they go undefeated and play 3 quality non-conference games, now they will play a legitimate Oklahoma State. Maybe it's not the best Oklahoma State game, okay? They'll play a legitimate Miami at home that's undefeated, and they'll play a team Florida that recruits good football players. Are they the best Florida team? No. I mean, but they're good football players. I think the committee will flop it back around, and somebody wrote, and I kind of laughed, it seems to me like they're making it up as they go along.
Well, but the thing that I took away from this, Gary, and I'm right there with you, this is made for TV. This is ESPN saying we're spending all this money. Now we have must-see TV on a Tuesday night. We own Tuesday night. We own Wednesday as a network, and we get you ready for college football over the weekend. So
I have no problem with that.
That's all.
What I don't understand is, are you kidding me? Barry Alvarez, Tom Osborne, Condoleezza Rice, these important people in our world are going to fly in every Tuesday so ESPN can have programming? I don't think so. I continue to say that in 3 years, we will look at these weekly committee things like we dial into an old movie and see a rotary phone on the wall and go, what the heck was that?
What do you think? What are we going to do? What's the better option?
They're going to wait till the end.
Oh, I don't know. I think the mothership loves this too much, Gary.
Well, I'll guarantee you this. You're not going to get this type of a committee with poor Jeff Long coming out every week having to answer all these questions. I do interviews. You do interviews. I mean, when I do 30 interviews, somebody says, well, wait a second. In interview number 2, you said this, and in interview number 13, you said this. I mean, that's where Jeff is. Now, 1 week it's the eyeball test, then it's the schedule test, then it's the head-to-head test, then it's a champion test. I wouldn't want that job, and I predict those guys are going to be diving away from this committee in the future.
I don't think they have to go to Dallas to get together.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Have they
all.
ever hit a computer and do a mind?
Haven't they ever done go to meeting?
Absolutely.
That's all you need to do.
Absolutely.
They're making it's all show and tell with this, unless they televise it.
TV. I could see the talking heads doing this and going on, and I'm more right than you are, and I've got a stat that you didn't think of. I get all that. That's fun, and that's part. And I've said this on your show for years. The college football better never get to the point where we just do the NFL mini, where we're just waiting for the playoffs here. There's nobody making any opinion. Opinion is important in college football, but I don't like this thing, and I'll tell you, I think they're way off here. I mean, this TCU Baylor thing is hilarious. When you start to break it down, we are now getting people saying, no. It doesn't matter that they played each other. That doesn't count. I mean, it only counts if at the end. This is just ridiculous.
All right, before I let you go, if Mississippi State loses to Alabama, are they still a top 4 team in the country?
No. Look at their non-conference schedule. Look who they crossed over in the East. Look who they played one, legitimate road game at LSU. They crossed over against Kentucky and Vanderbilt in the East. They're a good, solid football team, but Mississippi State shouldn't worry about the polls. They should worry about this Alabama defense. Okay, think about this: Dan Mullen's 0-5 against Alabama in the last 3 years. Okay, 2013 running the ball, 29 carries, 53 yards. 2012, 21 carries, 47 yards. 2011, 29 carries, 12 yards. 9 first downs. They just can't score against Alabama. The last 5 years, 3 points, 10 points, 7 points, 7 points, 7 points. Only 4 offensive touchdowns, and only 4 touchdowns, 3 by the offense. This Alabama team will show up on offense much better. Mississippi State needs to figure they got to score 28 points. They haven't scored 28 points combined in the last 5 years.
Somebody's done their research. Did a little homework, didn't you, Gary?
Unfortunately, with this job, these people follow you. They listen to you.
Good to visit with you, Gary. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Gary Danielson, CBS college football analyst. Man,